Hi guys! In this video, I'll be recapping 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 8, Episode 2. If you haven't yet, please see my last two videos where I covered the season premiere in 2 parts. You can find links to those videos up above or in the playlist for Season 8. If you're interested in recaps of reality shows like 90 Day Fiancé and Love is Blind, please like, comment, and subscribe. And check out my other videos and playlists. We meet up with Rick as his sister Mika is dropping him off at the airport. It's a tearful goodbye, and she tells him to be sure to check out Trisha before he does anything serious. He says he appreciates her advice. In his confessional, he explains he's going to see Trisha for the first time in Madagascar, and the trip will be 30 hours, but will be worth it once he has her in his arms. He's been in several relationships that didn't work out, and says it's hard as a single father. He wants to have someone to fill the void, and hopes Trisha will be the dream girl he thinks she is, and they can be a happy family. He's been suspicious of her since the ghosting incident, but says now he just wants to focus on their bond. They cut to Madagascar, where Trisha gives her confessional. She says she's a midwife because she loves babies. She says Madagascar has about 20 different tribes, and in her tribe, they believe every woman should have a child, and that's why she thinks it's important to help women give birth. Her ex took her to the city, and she misses her family and hometown, where life was more peaceful. She and her ex were together for 3 years, and she loved him, but he cheated, so she left. She promised herself she wasn't going to rush into love again, but when she saw Rick on the dating app, she was blown away. She loves how he takes care of his kids, and thinks he's faithful, unlike her ex, and hopes Rick proposes to her. Back with Rick, he's on a layover, and says he's going over in his head the issues he has to talk about with Trisha. He says he has to come clean and tell her what he did during the 5 days she ghosted him. He knows he acted impulsively, but hopes she can forgive him. As he's getting ready to land, he says how nervous he is. They cut to Trisha, who also says she's nervous, and that she just checked into the hotel Rick got for them. She wanted to stay at her place, but says he didn't want to stay at a place with no AC or hot water. In her confessional, she says she's been hurt in the past, but thinks he'll be faithful and treat her good. She knows they have issues, and she needs to show him he can trust her. When she gets to the airport, she's shaking with nerves. And when Rick arrives, he's equally nervous as he approaches her. When she sees him, she actually jumps out of her shoes as she runs to hug him. She starts crying after they embrace, and they definitely seem into each other. In their joint interview, she says she doesn't remember leaving her shoes behind, and something took over her body when she saw him. He says with every minute, his feelings for her grow deeper. He tells her now that he's with her, he can feel her spirit, and she's the one for him. In the cab, they talk about the traffic, and Trisha says it can take 2 hours to get home. He says sometimes he questioned when she said she'd message him in a couple hours when she got home, since he thought she was exaggerating, and she looks bothered by this comment. He says part of it is her fault, because she doesn't call him as soon as she gets home. You can tell he's trying not to fight, and he says he'll be even more jealous now because he sees how beautiful she is. After they get to the hotel, when he comes out of the shower, she surprises him by wearing lingerie, and he loves it, and he kicks the cameras out, but for some reason the cameras stay put, so I guess the camera people just stuck around for the whole thing. I like Rick and Trisha, and they clearly have great chemistry, but they're both hiding major secrets, and that's bound to cause havoc with so much passion on both sides. I think Rick likely had an indiscretion during the ghosting incident, but I'm curious what Trisha's secret is. It should be interesting to see more from these two as their story unfolds. Hi guys! Just a reminder to please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks! Moving on to Emma and Ziad. In the last episode, Emma had just arrived in Morocco and met Ziad for the first time. But they got off to a rocky start because he told her rules regarding intimacy that he didn't tell her beforehand, and also because he was acting like an ass. In response, she walked off their interview, and explains that this isn't how she pictured their first interaction. She thought it would be more special and romantic, and instead he's telling her what she can and can't do, and she says he never mentioned his religion before. Ziad does a separate interview where he says he's Muslim, and he told her they can hug and kiss on the cheek, and she'd agreed to that. But we saw from a previous clip that he actually told her they could kiss normally in public, and didn't specify kissing on the cheek. He approaches her and rudely says they should go, and pretty much starts barking orders at her. In her interview, she says the trip got off to a bad start, and part of her is wondering if she came all this way for no reason. But she's also seen the good side of him, and says she has genuine feelings for him, so she's trying to remind herself he's the person she wants to be with. They're in a car, and Ziad is muttering that they had a fight the first day, and he's already starting the gaslighting. She says it wasn't even the first 10 minutes, and that she didn't come here to fight, and he agrees he doesn't want to fight. She sees a nice store and says they should go shopping, and he starts shaking his head. She says she loves Morocco and would 100% move there, and he gives her an annoyed look. She asks if he'll stay with her at the hotel that night. He says yes, but he'll stay in another room. She says everything he's telling her is the opposite of what he originally told her. Ignoring this, he says it's his decision. In her interview, she says when she booked the room, she asked if they could stay in the same room, and he said yes. And I'm wondering, did she end up paying for 2 rooms? 'Cause he better be paying for that second room. She says she's not sure if he's second-guessing things, and it doesn't seem like he cares about her feelings. But she's there for 3 weeks, so she wants to stick it out and see if the relationship is real. To me, this is one of the starkest examples of sunken cost fallacy in action. In his confessional, Ziad says she can be very emotional and unpredictable, but he loves her and hopes they can stay together. They get to the hotel, called a riad, and she's really impressed. She says how romantic it is, and gives him a loving look, completely forgetting the mess they were in a minute ago. He drops her off at her room, and says he'll be next door. She sees a box on the nightstand, and asks what it is. It's not an engagement ring, but only a bracelet. Yet surprisingly, she's not bothered, and appreciates the gift. She says the day started off rocky, and she hopes it can go better. He responds with an annoyed head flinch, and says, yeah, I know. She asks for a hug, and he's like, of course, why not, and begrudgingly hugs her. But he soon makes his escape to give her more annoyed looks. She suggests they eat something, and he's passively aggressively like, as you wish, and looks completely miserable. And Emma can't read body language to save her life. In her interview, she says walking into the riad felt like walking into a palace, and like she's in a princess movie. She says her prince is a little awkward, but maybe she needs to be patient, and they started out on the wrong foot, but things will be okay. There's one point where she's looking out this little window, and says she's the princess of Morocco, and you can't tell me this guy doesn't hate her. They have dinner on the roof, and are having tagine, which looks so good. Ziad tells her she looks pretty. She asks if he remembers when they first met on a dating app, and how he called her his wife in the first 10 minutes. He says how he thought she was nice and smiling. She says how she looked forward to his messages. She asks what they can do as boyfriend and girlfriend. He says they can go out, but can't do more than hug or kiss on the cheek, until they're married. She says, so we're not going to do anything schmexual? And he says no. She says this isn't what he originally told her. He gaslights her, saying she thinks about schmecked more than love. She asks him to show her the text messages where he said they can't be intimate, and he says he told her on a call. In a confessional, he repeats that he told her he can't do anything schmexual, and a producer actually calls him out and says how he told Emma on a call that they could do everything. They show the clip where he says this, and he nonchalantly gaslights the producer and the 90-day audience, who have documented proof of his saying this, and says he remembers he told her hugs are okay, but no other intimacy. In retaliation, she tells him she's not hungry, so they leave. If I were her, I would have eaten that delicious tagine and found another way to stick it to him. In her confessional, she says she's spiraling, because a couple weeks ago, she noticed he was following thousands of women, so she messaged some of them just like she did with her ex, and it turns out he was talking to one of the girls. When she confronted him, he said the conversations were old. She took his word for it, but with how he's acting in person, it's making her question if he's with someone else. To me, the amount of nonsense Emma puts up with is concerning. She seems to minimize all sorts of alarming behavior in favor of keeping the peace. Besides the fact that she's setting herself up for constant heartbreak, it would be so easy for someone with that mindset to fall into a controlling or abusive relationship, so I hope she wises up soon. Anyway, that's it for this video. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.